39. So a few questions have come in. As always, if you're watching this, post a comment in the chat, I will get to it. But I'm going to start with the questions that came in. The first question that came in was from Steve, and it was a question Steve had around switching from an open G chord to a B minor bar chord. Now, so if I'm doing an open G chord, and I'm here, I'll do this here, and a B minor bar chord, it's used in The Wait by, that went to Nazareth, was feeling bad, 12:30. That's a good song that does it. Also used a lot in Wild Horses, I think. So, to get there, G. Now, I'll do it fast and let you look at the hand here and just see if you notice anything. Then I'm going to go slower and see what you notice, like what fingers might go first and things like that. So, okay, I'll do it again. Now, slowly, first thing you notice is see the thumb at the back. The thumb's going to disappear. Second thing to notice is my hand, the way it has this shape for G, and watch what happens here now. The length is going to appear. That length appears to get, and see the hook around to get B minor. Because our index is here, and then we've got to rotate it around like that for B minor. Okay? So, Steve, when you're doing G to the B minor bar chord, or like open chord to any bar chord, we've all got to remember that it's not just about different finger placements. There's different finger lengths, different angles of the wrist. There's all these little things to make it up. Okay, so we get this, I drop. So that's the first thing, Steve, to get the side of the finger in, then get these three like this. So we get G, and we get those. Now, G is on. Now watch what happens. Thumb drops, hand curls around like that, and your wrist will be the giveaway. Wrist is here for G, curls around, it moves close to you for the B minor. And then the next step with it is to work on getting your finger placement. So you like, ideally, try and get them in the air. So like if you're on G, watch what'll happen here. See the way I have these formed in the air before they land on the fretboard at all? And they go on, right? You'd be tempted to go like this, but that's two moves. So just try it in the air like that. And like that saying, sometimes you have to learn to crawl before you can walk or something, walk before you can run. Sometimes you got to slow it down with the chord change to get the fingers in the air and then place them all down on the fretboard, rather than rush to get to the fretboard and then go putting on 2 or 3 one after another. Just take the millisecond, get them in the air, put them all on at once. You will be slower at it, but Steve, and anybody doing this, if you just take the slowness and treat it as quote unquote a method and then crank up the speed with the method. All right, hope that helps. Great question, and really great that it was specific. And for any asking questions, the more specific it is about chord changes in particular, the more, like, those tips aren't as valid for other chord changes. So, go man, nice one. Also using the Universal by Blur. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, cool. Alrighty, so let's see, who else have we got here now? Few hellos. Hey, VZN Spike 101. What is your name? What do the humans call you? Alrighty. Declan, welcome in. I was saying that. Come on. Okay, Anne, welcome in. How's things? Anne, how did that open mic go? You gotta let us know. You're holding out on the info. Post comment in the community. Okay. Good man, that's great, Declan. That's good. Good. Okay, excellent. Hey, Maria, thanks for sharing the name. Great, I'll get your question in a while now. That is good. And I'll start that actually. Or actually, you know what, I'll hop to it now really quick because just because it will get lost in the chat. Okay, so question came in because it'll be quick. I do have a question regarding Scattered by Green Day. I looked up the tabs. It looks like it goes to G sharp power chord for 1 beat. It probably just hits the bass note. Yeah, so if it's 1 beat, depending on how fast the song is, that's there. If I wanted to do Thin Lizzy, Emerald. Down from the glen came the marching wind. that's using it. But yeah, if I was doing that now, Maria, and it's only one beat, I'd only do 2-fingered power chord like that. Okay, 4 and 6 on those 2 strings. Okay, another version for you is to go 6 and 6 like that. You can sometimes do power chords just like, if you're thinking 3 strings for the power chord, just look to see, could you do 2 combos? Excuse me, do the top 2 strings or the 2 strings below. Okay, good question, Maria. Nice one. Good to see a bit of Green Day. Okay, next question. I'm gonna have a read. Question from Brendan. Okay. With you teaching guitar, constantly putting up lessons, do you ever just play guitar for yourself? Like pick it up and sit for an hour, or so, just playing through songs and enjoy it for the fun of it? No, this is something I've been working on for a while now. Yeah, no. With gigging, I don't gig much anymore. I definitely felt it doing tons of gigs and teaching. It was just guitar. So it was just like, I could, before I had the online setup, like I could leave the guitar and not play it for weeks on end if it was summer break from lessons. But yeah, and that's something to watch. Like, so for example, the fun for me is I'd still put on the odd song. Another caveat to that thing is having the guitar all the time. But then the other thing is, like, for those of you playing a while now, check this question out. When was the last time you had fun playing G, E minor, C, and D? For those of you playing those quite a while. You know, some things on guitar you kind of just do rather than it be a fun journey. And that's where we look for other journeys. You could be doing bar chords, you could be looking up jazz, you could be looking up finger pick and stuff like that. So, like, but when you get to a level on guitar where, like, you can kind of, like, not tooting my own guitar horn, but when you can kind of play whatever you want with respect to, like, pop songs and stuff, the challenge goes. So yeah, so the fun for me is in the challenge, and the fun for me is in playing with others. So that's why I can't wait for a meetup. So great question, Brendan. Okay, Noel asked, can you give a few practice tips on palm muting, Dave? Dave, can you give a few tips on palm muting? So I seem to have it okay when just muting the E, A, and D strings. Okay. They seem fine, but the G and B won't ring out properly, especially when going back to palm muting after a chord change. Okay, so when it comes to palm muting with the chords, it's generally the thicker strings you'll palm mute. Like that version is simply the best from Schitt's Creek. Like if I'm going down here. Did you hear the way, like, as you listen to that, you can't hear as much songs that do that. It's always the thicker strings. So no, one thing to check in is that the song actually needs you to palm mute those thinner strings. The second thing is, if you are doing it, I wouldn't be trying to palm mute all of them at once. This is where I'd move my hand. So if I was palm muting up here, then when I go to palm mute down below, watch what'll happen to my hand. Watch the wrist, it's about to go down. And now, I can't palm mute those. So I'd move the wrist down now. Move the wrist down and focus on those. Like that. And then move the palm back up for that. Okay? Give that a go and share a video in the community if you're trying to, like, what's going on, because there could be other stuff at play we can't see. So yeah, feel free to share a video in the community. Good question. Okay. Andrea, what is up? How are you doing? Okay, so a quick question about finger picking. How can I word this? Okay, so playing Hallelujah with the pinky down. Playing it a while without an issue, but can't reach the strings with the anchor. I realize my way playing, I use my index on the D string, because in that song I don't play the high E string. Just give me a sec, folks, just reading these. Yeah, do you know what I do? Like, share a video in the community anyways, so I can see. Again, there might be stuff at play, but if you're not reaching strings because of the pinky anchor, I would check to see how close can you get that pinky anchor up to the top, And then even that amount to go from here up to here can be a good amount, like, you know. You know, even that a little bit. Okay, watch this. If I go down here, that's stretched my whole hand now. It doesn't work. So yeah, so try and get up as close as you can to it, okay? And then other things, I was talking to somebody today around, they were working through something on their finger, and I was saying, you know, like the finger picking patterns, they're guidance, best principles, etc., etc. But if for any reason you do need to change something on a particular one, it isn't like a crime or anything, you know. So yeah, if you do need to tweak stuff, Andrea, it's okay, but definitely share a video and we'll take a closer look. Cool. Okay, question from Brian. What was your aha moment when you managed to pull everything together on guitar? Okay, I'm gonna answer that first. Okay, and I'm gonna go to the old whiteboard here because I saw this one come in and I thought it was a good one as well. Okay, here we go. So I remember the night. I remember it very well, and it was a night where, and I know you've experienced this, where you look up a song, right, and you're looking it up on Ultimate Guitar, and you're going, oh God, I hope it's pretty okay. And I hope it has things I know, and I hope it doesn't contain that chord I hate or whatever. And I remember I looked one up, and all of a sudden I was like, geez, not too bad. I got that one quick enough. So that's the first thing. To pull everything together on guitar, let's say pull together guitar, right? So the first thing is, when it comes to the too hard and it comes to the too easy, that you basically can be playing and you're basically starting to notice where things fit on the spectrum, right, of guitar. And you tend to, if it's too hard, you know how to simplify. If it's too easy, you know how to make it more challenging. Like, that's another level of mastery on guitar. It's one thing to find the song and learn it, and that is totally respectable work, because it takes a ton of work to get songs working on guitar. But it's another level then to go, like, to find songs and go, that seems too easy. I want to make it challenging for myself. And there's a whole, I won't get into the details of how to do that right now, but like you could turn an open chord song into barre chords, you could add in seventh chords, you could finger pick a song instead of pick, you could do all this stuff. And then when it comes to a song that's too hard, it's equally important knowing what to simplify. And to simplify, you'd be doing less, none, and different. Let me explain. And diff, right? You'd be doing less of something in the song. So if you found all the barre chords are too hard, do less barre chords. If the fills in the song were too difficult, don't do them, leave them out. Or do something completely different. You can replace chords. You can replace like a G chord with an E minor chord, stuff like that. So that's the thing, simplifying and challenging. And then comes the art of picking songs. And that's where, like, pulling everything together on guitar, like everything, to me, everything on guitar is when you can play what it is you want. And then if you see something that you not only know how to simplify it or to make it challenging, but you can also, the time frame to completion goes from this to this to this to this. You know, like songs that might have taken 1 month could take 2 weeks, could take 1 week, could take 1 day. And that's important too, and that's in your approach. That's how you look to break down things. And that's why I'd always go like 80-20 on it. And I'd be like, well, you know, instead of spending time strumming the G chord there for like a few bars ahead of this chord change, that's the problem. Go to the problem and like nail it head on, like. And I know on the surface, like, chill out, Dave, like it's only like a few G chords. But can you imagine, like, if that was 1 minute of your time, we'll say, or I'd say 2 minutes of your time, and you spend 2 minutes of your time doing something you can't get any better, and then you could have just jumped straight to the thing and done that for 2 minutes and get it done. If that becomes a habit, you could have a whole year of 2 minutes, which adds up to hundreds of minutes, which adds up to hours of playing G chords, when you could have been spending hours tackling a chord change. And as you know, it wouldn't take hundreds of hours to get a chord change, but as soon as you have it, you just get the next thing. And that's where, like, I used to be ruthless with my time. I used to look at the sheet, and I have my guitar broken. I have my old guitar folder here, right? And I literally, it's 11 o'clock on a Saturday, I'd go in, I'd come home that evening around 4 o'clock from Galway City, and I'd look at the sheet, and I'd look down, and I'd go, that was the bit that caused me the most problems. And I just drill that for like an hour. And when you do that, then you just become so optimized with your practice time. And that's how you take things from taking you a month to learn to 2 weeks, 1 week to a day, a couple of hours. So when you think about making stuff challenging, making stuff simpler, and then the stuff you do want to work on, making the time frame less to complete them. And then the last thing then is basically breaking the songs apart. Like, we'd say if that was an instant song, this one would take you a bit longer, and this one would be long term. Okay. So a song you look up and you go, oh, class, it is G minor, C and D. That's so cool. I'll just do that one. That came quick. But then you start looking at medium ones. You go, oh, that'll take a while now. But then other ones, like you were saying there about managing to pull everything together on guitar. I never got to the stage where I'd hear a really fast solo and I'd just play the really fast solo. But I got to the stage where I'd look at the solo and go, I'm at peace. That's going to take a bit longer, but I know I'm certain I'm going to get it. It could take a month, it could take 2 months, but I'm going to get it. And when you have that certainty that you can learn whatever you want. And the thing is, everyone's journey is different. Like, not everybody wants to like go shredding solos. For you, if it's like you want to get your 10 chords and be able to look up songs and go, I like Bob Dylan, I just want to play his songs, and look them up and get them really quick. That's your definition of mastery, or pulling everything together on guitar. All right, hope that answer helps. And then second question from Brian: as a guitarist, what is one thing you wish you knew sooner about playing guitar? I wish I knew how I was activated. What I mean by that is every player is motivated differently. Some players shy away from competition, other players thrive on it. And I found what worked for me, and I'm not an advocate of comparing yourself to any players, because there's a real downside to it. But a benefit of it was targets. When I was learning first, I was kind of wandering about, and then a guy in my class, he was like the best guitarist in the class, in 6th class, and I was like, what makes him the best guitarist now? And he knew this song. And I was like, oh, if I learn that song, maybe people might look at me in the class as if I'm as good as him. Pure ego still. I think I was 12, but like, you know what I mean? But I had a target, and I practiced the target, and I got the target, and it made me a better player in the process. And then all of a sudden you go from that into first year and secondary, and then it's like, okay, so what's the hardest song so I just kept finding players, and I kept finding what's the hardest song they knew. I was a teenager, not the most mature approach to learning an instrument, but it definitely worked. But and here's the downside of that, because underneath that was comparison, you know. Then as soon as we'd say, quote unquote, I would have practiced my way up to the top of the chain, so to speak, you start looking over your shoulder at who's coming in the years below you, or who else is joining your group, and are they better? Like, it's a never end. And I just, at that stage, I was like, this, like, what's enough? Because, you know, you could be aiming to be the best in your building, best in your town, best in your city, best in your county. You know, it's never ending. Then the internet came along, which, you know what I mean? You look up videos, everyone's savage. So that's the thing. But know how you're wired. So like, basically with that was the blueprint. And from there I was like, and having spoken with other students of mine, really high performance students, when they're older, I would have taught them when they're teenagers, and then if I met them when they're in their 20s, then I'd kind of get curious and I'd ask them to come back. I was like, do you know, did you kind of try and find what the hardest song? And when I looked at the underlying themes he had, a lot of them had the same drive, you know. So hope that helps. hope you're not going, Jesus Christ, Dave, what were you at in secondary? But then, tuning of guitars. From Brendan, I tune my guitar using the 12th fret harmonics as I find the tuner doesn't fluctuate as much compared to tuning with open strings. Is there any real benefit to this, or is it a myth? One thing to watch out for with the harmonics is if the intonation's off on the guitar. Could be wrong on this. I see you're in the chat, Declan. Declan, you could be the guy for this one, but like I know if the strings are going out of tune, the intonation starts to go. So that'd be one thing to watch. Let me check one thing. And because of that, then I don't know how accurate it is, you know, but I would have done it, but I just tend to go for the open strings. All right, and it depends on the tuner. Like I've done some tuners where they're all over the place, and I just got a better tuner. I use the Planet Waves one. It's Planet Waves. It's clipped on the back of this one. It's pretty good. Okay, question from Coleman. What is Travis picking, and is that the one used in Bob Dylan's "Don't Think Twice, It's All Right"? Travis picking is the one where your thumb is doing, and I know Ken, who's in our community, had asked about that as well, and that is coming in our finger picking journey. Okay, so if I was to do Travis picking, like other picking is going like this, and excuse the tune in a sec. Blue moon, right? So, but if you do one like this with the thumb, like that, you see the thumb carries the momentum. And the thing about the Travis picking is the thumb can be doing strings next to each other. You can do strings just like that, but it's thumb, 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 thumb. And what you do is you're fitting notes in between the thumb. So if I'm going like this, I wish this could be. Okay, so check this out. They're not going to change, and I'm going to fit in between. See with the index? And then, but if I stop the other stuff, my thumb didn't change. So your main job with Travis picking is to keep your thumb unchanged and to fit the stuff in between the thumb notes. Because if you can think of it like that, as in muscle memory, as in you're strumming down and you're doing a bit of talking, like that keeps it flowing. And if you can keep your thumb steady, because if you don't, you open this Pandora's box of going, I have all these notes and where do they belong? You just get the thumb like that. Like 18 by Ed Sheeran, you know? Right, so that's a little bit about Travis picking. We are going to be moving into it in our finger picking journey. Don't you worry, folks. And then, is that the one using Bob Dylan's Don't Think Twice, It's All Right? Kinda, I'm gonna say kinda. The reason I'm saying kinda is because it's not like classic the whole way through. Like that's basic Travis picking on the chords, right? Now watch what happens here. There's extra stuff added in. So I don't want to say it's classic Travis picking, right? That is a great one. But keep in mind with finger picking, like it's all about getting the basic patterns first. All that like all that stuff is just like you really have to like break each chord down. Okay, that thing happened to me there. Do you know that ever happened to you where like you try and play something slow and you like the muscle memory knows it fast? Alrighty, question from Andy. When you know the key and the principal and minor chords, so the major and minor chords, can you change the tabs on any song to another key using the 145 to 145 minor system? Okay. I'm going to say, Andy, if you want to clarify this, when you know the key and the principal, and when you know the key and the major minor chords, you can change any song with the 1, 4, and 5. So I'll do this here. Go back to the drawing board. Okay. Oh, my split screen isn't working, is it? Okay. So the thing with this one is, and I'll do this really quick, 1, 4, and 5, if we said in the key of A, 1, 4, and 5 is A, D, and E. Then in the key of G, 1, 4, and 5 is G, C, and D. So if a chord scheme had wild thing and it's going A, D, D, E, D, D, that's chord 1, 4, 5, and 4. And if I play it this way, you'd be going wild thing. Dun, 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 dun. Right? Now, paint by colors, paint by numbers, like basically 1, 4, and 5 then, if you were to play it in the key of G here, you basically put G in instead of A, so this would be G, then you put C in instead of D, 5 is, and I'll do it here, we got G, C, D, and C. Now, do you notice the way here that the one confusing point with this is that D's in both of them, and you're like, wait a sec, did Dave add it? No, I didn't. Some chords can contain shared, some keys contain shared chords, okay? So take a listen to the lower line. So the first one in the key of A, second one, now as you can hear, like you'd hear the unmistakable sound of a G, but you can hear that it's just that bit lower, you know? And by the way, a tip when you're training your ears is close your eyes, because like, actually we'll do it again. Okay, so I'll play it again, close your eyes, and I'm going to play the first one, and just notice how it sounds to hear it. Keep them closed. Okay, you can open your eyes. Do you see the way, like, even though the chord qualities and tonalities were different, like G is so open versus the tight A, but the general vibe was the same, like you could hear it move around, you know? So, hope that helps, Andy. So, yes, you can, okay? What's that slogan for? Yes, we can. Yes, we can change keys. Okay, so that's all the questions from inside the community. I am going to take a dig through here real quick. Oh, I saw Oasis mentioned. Yes. Anyone else excited about Oasis? I cannot wait. Man, if they announce that, I'm definitely going to go to one of the earlier gigs. I'd say the two boys could have a bust up, but I'd say they're under contract too. Okay. Okay, Steve mentioned there about the B minor, sometimes use the bottom of the bar chord. That works, like, you know, you can do that. The funny thing is, like, going G to that, like, watch all the movements. Oh, the switch, now watch this one. You can see you can stay tight to the fretboard, so it is definitely worth learning. Okay, cool. Thanks, Thomas, for sharing that. Okay, Marie, you're saying it goes through from the A chord, yeah. Yeah, I do 2 fingers then, you know. And the trick is, when you're moving power chords, is do the move, but as you do the move, look at where you need to go next. Those milliseconds count, you know. Okay. Excellent, Declan, that's great. So Declan's saying he's spending time doing a ton of structured practice, and that's a real thing. Like, I know some of you found that where you take a break for a few days and you might worry that you're like, geez, did I lose everything? And it's like, the muscle memory needs a couple of days to set sometimes. It's amazing. Summer 69, yes, that is a great tune. Summer 69 for palm muting, yes, 100%. And you don't actually want to palm mute all of them for that one. Sounds like a Spotify ad. Just the thickest ones. All right. Yes, we will be back in Oasis for Glastonbury. Yes. That'd be class. Okay. Okay, excellent. Question from Stephen Thomas. How often should I change guitar strings? And Noel, you're very welcome. How often should I change guitar strings? I try and practice every day. here's a one way to know, right? Get a white sheet of paper and put it under your strings, and it's going to show up all the dirt and all the everything, right? That's one way visually for you to know. If you're playing every day, like, this sounds kind of obsessive, but like, I'd be changing them once a month or 6 weeks at the very latest. At the peak of my practice at the time, I was changing them once a week. You know, but I was younger and like hadn't adult responsibilities also, you know. gotta keep those lights on. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, Brendan, nice one. Delhi. Hey, Brian, you're very welcome. Andre, welcome in. What's up? Okay. Okay. Thought the call was 7:30. No, both of them are 7. Our old Thursday one used to be 7:30. Then I changed it. Brendan having the crack. Okay. Cool. Nice. So, any other questions? Or is there anything I touched on that you want to see more of? Like, you know? That one was interesting about the like feeling like you've everything nailed on guitar sort of thing. Like, that's a big one. And that's about newness, like doing different stuff more, you know. Like, there was a thing before saying more, better, new. Like, do more of what you're currently doing until you get it, do it better. And then, if you can't get it any better, like, when was the last time any of you checked, can you get your G chord any better, or an E minor chord, you know, depending on, with respect to how long you're playing. You know, like, even E minor, I'll use E minor. Like, once you get it, you get it. You don't need to spend extra time playing it and doing more. It's always about the new thing, you know. So that would help. And I'm trying to think. And Joe really helps as well if you're learning something. It's telling people what you're going to do. Like when I was learning, I used to make it a point to tell guys in my class what I was learning on guitar, because I noticed that when I told people what I was doing, at least one person might ask me how it's going, and I didn't know the term accountability at the time, but I was holding myself accountable. And whether that way they asked was like, oh, do you have that song off yet? No way. Or it was going, can you play a bit of it there for us? Like, depends on how they asked, but there was expectancy there, you know. When there was, then I was more likely to practice, you know. Sweeping, I'll do my best. Okay, sweeping. Jesus. Okay. In a nutshell, Maria, sweeping, for those of you watching, is when you get the pick, and I need to check here my pick. I was doing fingerstyle today. Give me one sec. This is a safe space, right? You're not gonna judge me for having no pick, are you? Jeez, where are the picks gone? Okay, so I'll do my thumb. Okay, my thumb's pick. It's where, instead of picking notes, you sweep the pick down the strings, and it creates this illusion that you're picking super fast. Like that, you know. The trick with this, Maria, is coordination. You gotta go so slow. A great one, Joe, that ABBA one. That disco one. Gimme. That thing. That's where you just drag the pick down. And the notes there is 7, 6, 5, then 10, you know. So, hope that helps a little bit. I don't go too in-depth on electric stuff now since it's an acoustic Q&A. But yeah, that's what I say. Take it steady, work on the coordination, and just get one shape going first, okay? Yeah, where is my pick? That should have been a movie instead of Dude, Where's My Car? Dude, Where's My Pick? Okay, so any other topics anybody wants to see expanded on? We have 20 minutos. Now let's see, did any other questions come in here real quick? Or anything, any topics anybody wants to discuss around focus, motivation, discipline, time management, anything like that? Let me know. Okay, no other questions there. But they'd be major things about guitar, you know, and just, okay, question from Brendan. Okay. Tips for strumming without a pick. I find I always have to have a pick when strumming. If no pick and have to use fingers, I tend to catch strings with my thumb. Yeah, 100%. I hear you, Brendan. Okay, so tips for strumming without a pick. I tend to do this. So, I'm not using my thumb at all. So how I'm doing it is this. Sorry, your comment there, Stephen. Yep, that will bring it up, all right. It's like one of those ads on TV with the, you know, the kitchen floor thing where they show the dirt on it or something. Yeah, 100%. If I did it on mine now, you'd all see. So, okay, so, Brendan, I'm strumming like this. I have my hand like this. The fingers are really loose. My thumb is just there as an anchor. And what's happening is this. And how I'm doing it, I'll do it here. Watch. That's the down strum. And I'm mostly catching it with my index. But I'm not doing this like. The whole hand looks complete. And a little bit of the middle finger. None of these two. But they're all a unit. So if you want to think of this as your pick, and just move it down, and the thumb's a stabilizer. So that's the down strums. And I get the catching it, Jesus, sore if you catch it the wrong way, moving up with the thumb. Like, I've done that, I still do it, but if I'm not watching. So that's an action item you do for this is do downs, then C, like that, then D. So that's all I do, right? Now, up strums. Let's talk up strums because down is only half the equation. When I do up strums, I only use my index finger. And Anne, if you're still on the call, if you have any tips for strumming with your hand, I think, I could be wrong, but I think I've seen you do that a good lot, I think. And I remember you did an up strum really nice. So if I'm remembering that right, maybe if you have a tip or two to share. But when I'm doing it, it's down, down, up with the index like this. Like that. And that's it. See the motion in the index? Like that. And the reason I like that one is, at any stage I can go, and you can hit the odd thing with your thumb then. Okay? If I do this, it's a bit of a glassier tone if I only use these two. Have a listen to the tone. Now the other one. Right? And the thing about it is, right? That's one thing. Is there a time you strum with your thumb? 100%. And is there artists that are well known? Damien Rice would have been a big one that would have come up. Like, if I go like this. It's all thumb there. You know, so depending on the artist. So you could do a bit of both. But that strum there, like the... You hear it isn't the one that goes... You know, I wouldn't do that with the thumb. Okay, hope that has been a great question. Any questions? Okay. And the thing about using the thumb as well is just like that bit of skin or whatever on the thumb is, oh man, when that hits the strings or the strings hit it, like, it is not nice. Okay, that's cool, Steve, that worked, that's class. Okay, Brian, could you do a mini course on power chords? I'll give you a mini 5-minute masterclass on power chords right now, right? Power chords are like, they're one shape. It's only one shape to learn. And this is the shape, right? It's index finger on 5, ring finger or pinky on 7. You can do power chords with 3 fingers. I'll just use 2 for this example here. So that's the shape, one shape. So that means your responsibility then, Brian, is to learn how to move it down across strings. So you'd be going from here, changing down strings. Your other thing to learn will be staying on the same string and sliding up either 1 fret, which is kind of metal stuff, 2 frets, 3. You know, you're just getting those distances. And it's like running, where like if you want to learn how to run, want to learn 20 miles, you wouldn't try and do 20 the first time. You start with 1 mile, then 2 miles, 3, 4, and so on, right? So you get the distances. And as always, mind your habits, always looking at this hand. And then you basically learn some songs. One I always recommend is More Than a Feeling. That's good on Eye the Tiger's fun. Make It With You by Queens of Stone Age. It goes. Right, it's 3 chords the whole way through. So those would be some you could use. So it's one shape, you learn it around the fretboard, a couple of easy songs. Of course, when you look up power chords, you're going to see like Metallica, Pantera. You're going to see power chords equals rock, and rock equals electric a lot of the time, and rock electric equals fast, heavy a lot of the time. And it's really hard for players to bridge that gap of starting out with a brand new thing and suddenly opening the big box of like all the cool stuff, right? So that's the thing to watch, that you start nice and simple. Okay, good question. Okay. Delhi, cool. I'm gonna add that in there. So Brendan said he's doing that now with the strum, and it definitely feels more comfortable and smooth. And that's a sign. That's a real good sign of something on guitar when you try it straight away and you're like, huh, feels pretty right straight away. Okay. Yes. Just need to, yeah, 2 close strings. That's the key one. Just relax it up. Okay, cool. I'm gonna add in Dan's question. How many variations? I'll actually do this here. Oops, sorry. How many variations of fingerpicking is there other than the Pima? Is there any specific format for, say, jazz or blues, or are they all interchangeable for different genres? Okay, so variations of fingerpicking. There's like strum patterns. If I said to you right now, how many strum patterns do you know? If you've been playing a while, you might go, and you'll play 2 or 3 that you're like, I use this one a ton in songs, like our, right? Fingerpicking's the same. You could be like, I'm doing this pattern a ton in songs, like, you know. So then, in the fingerpicking journey inside the community, we've done this one. Also used in When You Say Nothing at All by Ronan Keating. Can't unhear that now. So you have that one, then you have the 6/8 one, right? The sort of sway along one. So they'd be really common ones. And then you have the Travis picking one. I'd count those 3 as the main 3. And then I'd say everything else would stem as a unique expression on top of those 3. So as an example, that Bob Dylan one. I've never done that in any other song ever, only in that one. So I learned for that one. But when you learn it in one, you can put it in other ones. Like the way we had the creativity corner inside the fingerpicking journey. That's the thing. You learn little extensions, then you start pondering and ask yourself questions going, where can I use this elsewhere on guitar? Now, so that's finger picking. Then we finger style, which is the... You see there, it isn't like that. It's melody with the bass notes, and if I go... that sort of stuff. You see there, that's more finger style then. And again with that, you're kind of learning chords. Like I never did a course in it. I just learned some songs and then I did it more and stuff. And then with the finger style, you begin looking at stuff you've already played and going, if I was to play that with finger style or finger picking, how might I do it? Like Friends in Low Places. Blame it all on my rules. I showed up in boots. That, like, there's no, like, the last one, no. So all just feeling it out and testing it. All right. For jazz, then I would play jazz. The few times I play jazz anymore, but like I would do it with like that. That sort of stuff. I just love using my fingers for that, you know. And the chords move so fast as well that if I'm picking them like this, I'll always get to that quick with the fingers. Using a pick. All that movement, like it's just like trying to get back to the strings. So you can just react quicker. Okay, good question, Dan. Anne has announced she'll never use a pick again. Nice. What about we do our like strumming picking journey, Anne? You're gonna need a pick for that. Okay, Brendan's curious. He's like, really? Okay. So Brian, you'd asked about power chords. Yeah, like the mini chords and power chords, there is going to be one inside the community. For now, definitely focus on open chords. And then the power chords, yeah, there will be, but we're going to do the finger picking journey first, and then the next one will probably go to a vote. It'll be tied between strumming, patterns, and alternate picking, and then the power chords will be coming down the line. But we could do something small with power chords, all right? Thomas, thanks for making it. Thanks for making it in. Paranoid, yes, that's a good one. That's a good one for power chords, definitely, yeah. So like, because you have ages on the chord. And you do it slow, like do a laid back dance version, you know. That's a really good one, yeah, good. Thanks. Yeah, so that would work really well. And that's 7, then 3, 5. You know, that'd be a good one. And by the way, if you've listened to enough rock and stuff as well, you might go playing power chords and wait on one and kind of go, that kind of sounds like this song. You know, that can happen too. One thing to watch with the online stuff, and I've been guilty of this too, is sometimes if you look up easy power chord songs, they won't be easy. Like, I'll just say that. They will not be easy. They'll be really tricky. And you might be left wondering, what's wrong with my power chords? Nothing. It's just that, like, yeah, some of them aren't easy. Okay. Sounds very Nirvana. Yeah, Nirvana would have done a ton of like that. Definitely, Maria. Yeah, good. And thanks for making it in. I know you're in the free community, so thanks for making it into the live stream, Maria. Finger style looks like day 90, the finger picking journey. Yeah, like, it depends. Like, it depends what you're doing. Like, this. Like, that's one thing. Right, and it's heavier in this hand. And then the thumb is just sounding off a nice. Just sound off nice stuff like that. You know? Yeah. But it is cool. It is cool. Now, but the key thing with it is like, and that's where like courses are great, and it's great to have stuff set out linear, and it's great to have step-by-step stuff with action items. But our finger picking journey is eventually, it's going to go from like stop here to I'm going to open out the 9-lane motorway, like, or the 9-lane freeway, because like it will end up spreading out into different options, you know. But it's all about just getting it, you know. Class playing the Fly Me to the Moon melody. Yeah, and it's just about experimenting, you know. My own teacher told me at the time, he was saying he went without using a pick for, I think, 2 years to really get into learning Mark Knopfler's technique. Like, and I remember at the time I was blown away. Like, I used picks at gigs, but I was blown away because like, wow, someone would do that. And then when I saw how well he could do stuff, I was like, okay, so that means that somebody who says they do that, that's what can happen. And I know, like, there's so much to learn nowadays, but even if you were to say, I'm going to not use a pick for a week here and just try and do stuff that you normally do with the pick, with your fingers, you'll find that you'll start to find ways around it. And it goes the opposite way. That if we've been having discussions, I'll be like, hey, you need to start using the pick more. Use the pick all week and try and play fingerstyle stuff with the pick. You know, inside the community, like even that, if you were to pick that, it sounds nice and glassy, and it's much more difficult, but it'll make a great job of your picking, you know. All right, Brian, thanks. Yeah, geez, won't feel the in-person meetup coming up at all. It's gonna be good. Let's see, where are we at? Those are the main things that came in. Yeah, like I'm just trying to think. Yeah, and then songs, I'll go over here. Has anybody checked out what songs are getting voted? Okay, let's see. September Song of the Month. Okay, got some good ones in here. Some Oasis, some Beatles, Pink Floyd, David Bowie, Eagles, more Beatles, Chili Peppers, Eddie Vedder, that's good. More Beatles, ELO, that's cool. Creep by Radiohead, nice. Five Vance, yes, class. Take It Easy, oh, the Eagles, another mention, interesting. Okay, yeah, so crew, I'm going to be looking through this tomorrow, and I'll share the short list tomorrow, and we're basically going to vote from there. So the votes are going to be open for like 24 hours. Noel, I'm turning content off on the post now. Did you get Paul Weller in? Yeah. By the way, really quick, that's a great example of a song, the Paul Weller one, the one that goes. Right, it's done on piano, but it's really good playing to like listen to some piano and go, how could I do that on guitar if I did it? Because like here, if you go E minor, then Noel, if you hit the bottom two strings, then you curve those two around to get the second fret and slide it up a fret to get the third. You know, and they're a type of power chord as well, okay? Anything but another Laurel Canyon type requiem. No problem. Noted. Okay, crew. We're down to probably a minute or two. Do you have any other questions before we call it for this week? I'm just going to get the notes ready here. But they'd be key things to watch. Like, key things to watch with the time frames. And do you know what's really good, actually? I'll share this here real quick. Like, when you're in your day-to-day as a guitarist, time and space are like, it's so hard to see the wood from the trees because you're going day to day. And you know yourselves with the videos, when you submit them in the community or share them, it's like the ability to look back in a video and go, whoa, yeah, geez, I remember that chord was a challenge, or my finger picking sounded slower, now it's fast. But one thing that's really good is if you were to keep a plain journal and each day to write down a few lines, what went well, and even 5 lines of thoughts, right? And with those thoughts, if you're to do that for a year, and I've done this, I've journals here all over the place, but like daily journal, page a day, like I think it's an A5 page, and going back through them, you start to spot patterns, and you start to spot like if you're starting to fall off with practice, or you really got into practice, what caused that spike in practice? If you write even 5 lines of thoughts, and that's like, if you do that 5 lines, we'll say 360 days a year, for math's sake, you'd be over 1,500 lines of like detailed info as to what could be motivating you that you're unconscious of. So just wanted to share that. Thought that was pretty cool before. Okay. Now and Then, the Beatles. Yeah, the song is called Now and Then, is it, Steve? Let's check that up. The Beatles, they have great rhythms, definitely. All right, crew, I'll take one last question. Anybody got a question? If you speak now or forever hold your peace. Speak now or forever hold your picks. But of course, you know, if you're inside the community, you can ask anytime, of course. So it's all good. Okay. So we're going to wrap it there. Thanks a million for joining us for Q&A 39. The replay will be up straight after this, and then I'll drop it in the community tomorrow along with the board notes. And come back into the community tomorrow, because I'm going to have a list of songs and we're all going to vote on them, and the vote's going to close within 24 hours after that, and then I'm going to get down to making a tutorial for them. All right, so have a great evening. Thanks a million everybody for joining us. Great to see all your names in the chat, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.